The champagne flute arced through the air, glinting under the string lights, as Monica's stilettos skidded on the slick, invisible film coating the terrace tiles. Her arms flailed like a wind-whipped inflatable at a car dealership, grasping at nothing. A groomsman lunged to save the teetering wedding cake, only to crash into the ring-bearer, who barreled into the gift table with a wail. Shrieks erupted, the bride collapsed in tears, and somewhere in the chaos, a guest hollered, "Is this a wedding or a demolition derby?" I stood at the edge of my own terrace in serene detachment, arms folded, watching the pandemonium unfold. Just days ago, I'd been smugly informed I should feel privileged to have my private space commandeered. Commandeered without consent by the neighborhood's self-appointed empress of audacity, Monica Harper. Now, the terrace was delivering a lesson as slippery as its polished surface. This all began on a quiet Wednesday morning in August 2024 in the sleepy suburb of Willow Creek, Oregon. I was nursing my coffee, watching sparrows bicker over crumbs in my backyard, when a sharp rap on my door broke the calm. Taped to the frame was a glossy flyer from the Homeowners Association, all official-looking with its embossed logo. It droned on about routine, maintenance sewer inspections, fence repairs, the usual. But buried at the bottom, in an absurdly cheery font, was a vague note about community event overflow utilizing shared spaces. I scoffed, tossed it on the kitchen counter, and forgot about it. Mistake number one. By Friday afternoon, the absurdity hit like a freight train. I pulled into my driveway to find two guys hauling a portable dance floor and fairy lights onto my terrace, the private, deed-protected extension of my living room, accessible only through my glass sliding doors. They wore matching polos emblazoned with premier events and looked baffled when I demanded answers. The wiry one, clutching a clipboard, stammered, "This is the venue for the Sullivan wedding. Emily Sullivan's big day. Monica's cousin." I told him flat out this was my property, not a public park. He double-checked his work order, shrugged, and suggested I talk to the client. Cue Monica's grand entrance. She swept in, oversized sunglasses perched on her nose, her blazer's shoulder pads screaming boardroom tyrant. Her voice could have shattered crystal as she declared the terrace was hers for a momentous occasion. I countered with the fact that it was legally mine. She smirked, citing some obscure clause in the HOA bylaws about communal viewing areas. I pulled up my property deed on my phone, map, and all. She waved it off like I was a pesky intern and boasted that 80 guests were coming, that this was a gift to the community's soul. When I told her to move the event or cancel it, she locked eyes with me and said, "You should feel honored, David." That was the moment something in me snapped not with rage, but with cold, calculated resolve. I gave her 24 hours to clear out. She hummed a wedding march and sauntered off, dismissing me like I was air. That night, I pored over my HOA contract. My property line was ironclad. The terrace was exclusively mine. I called a lawyer buddy, who confirmed Monica was bluffing worse. She was fabricating authority she didn't have. He advised documenting everything, but warned that the HOA board wouldn't act fast enough to stop a wedding 36 hours away. That's when the plan took shape. I watched Monica direct her crew the next morning, sipping her latte like a queen overseeing a coronation, floral arches rising on my terrace. Words wouldn't stop her. She was too entrenched in her delusion of dominance. But I knew something she didn't. I'd spent years in architectural safety, testing surface friction for high-traffic buildings. I understood how materials interacted, and I knew what happens when a specific non-toxic, odorless gel used in industrial cooling systems meets polished tile under a dance floor rug. I wasn't out to harm anyone. I'm not a monster, but I wanted a spectacle, a story that would haunt Monica's ego forever. At a supply shop I still had contacts with, I picked up the gel. It turned surfaces into ice rinks without a trace. That night, under cover of darkness, I crept on my terrace in rubber-soled shoes, a sprayer in hand. The fairy lights were off, the neighborhood silent. I coated the high-traffic tiles dance floor, buffet line, DJ booth leaving the entry rugs and aisle untouched for a delayed effect. I cleaned my tools, scrubbed my shoes with vinegar, and erased every trace of evidence. By morning, the terrace gleamed innocently. Saturday, September 7th, 2024, dawned bright. Monica arrived in a peach silk robe, curlers bobbing, barking orders at photographers. She didn't glance my way, assuming I'd caved. Guests trickled in, dressed to the nines, treating my terrace like their personal estate. The ceremony went off without a hitch, vows, rings, applause. Monica basked in her triumph. But I was waiting for the music. When the DJ dropped the first beat, the newlyweds hit the dance floor, and chaos erupted. The bride wobbled, then slipped. The groom lunged to catch her, only to crash into the best man. Laughter turned to gasps as guests skidded like cartoon characters. Monica, rushing to intervene, hit the tiles and bowled into a table of hors d'oeuvres. Her perfect updo, now a nest of shrimp and frosting. The ring-bearer dove for cover, toppling a floral arch. It was a symphony of pratfalls, captured by every phone and a drone buzzing overhead. From behind my glass doors, I filmed discreetly, sipping iced tea. Monica pounded on the door, shrieking accusations. I held up my deed, highlighted boundaries glowing, and her face contorted like she'd swallowed a lemon. Guests limped away, some laughing, one calling it the wedding of the century for all the wrong reasons. The bride sat sobbing, her dress a soggy ruin. The DJ packed up, muttering about his speakers. And Monica? She stood amid the wreckage, a fallen dictator, vowing revenge. She didn't waste time. By Monday, 2 HOA reps showed up, looking sheepish. Monica loomed behind them, accusing me of sabotage. I handed over my deed and played dumb about the slickness, saying I'd merely cleaned my property. Then a guest, an older woman in a polka dot dress, stepped forward with a video. Monica's voice rang out, admitting she'd forged HOA flyers and put that nobody in his place. The reps' faces hardened. Monica lunged for the phone. The woman yanked it back. The reps apologized and left. Monica hissed she'd ruined me. I told her she'd only begun to pay. The fallout was swift. Social media exploded with clips titled, "Willow Creek Wedding Wipeout." A local blog ran a story, HOA Tyrant's Slippery Scheme. At an emergency HOA meeting, I presented my evidence, videos, photos, audio of Monica's boasts. The board stripped her of her treasurer role, banned her from voting, and slapped her with cleanup costs. She stormed out, speechless for once. Days later, the bride, Emily, visited, apologizing. She hadn't known the terrace was private. Monica had lied. She invited me to her podcast about wedding disasters. I joined, and we laughed about her cake smear dress. Her marriage? Annulled. The groom bailed, unable to handle the drama. But Monica wasn't done. A week later, a truck arrived to install security cameras on my property, ordered by HOA treasurer Monica. She'd forged documents again, posing as a consultant. I documented everything and called a fraud investigator. Then, I added a plaque to my terrace. Truth slips here, September 7th, 2024. Neighbors loved it, leaving notes of support. The city hit Monica with charges for impersonation and fraud. Teens projected wedding memes on her garage, her final humiliation. By month's end, she moved out, her house dark, a paper crown on her doorstep reading Queen of Flops. My terrace became legend. The HOA reformed, transparent at last. We held a movie night on my terrace, fully permitted. I sat under the stars at peace. Monica's reign was over, but I kept my evidence, just in case. What would you have done in my shoes? Let it slide or fight back? Was the gel too far, or did Monica deserve it? Should the bride have sued her cousin for lying? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood tales.